meet people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
We don't want you on our team.
You're not the right fit for this job.
You're too slow and fast.
Don't you care how you look?
Weight bias hurts. Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Woo, it's a hot and sticky afternoon out there. A high of 90, but feeling more like low to mid-90s with the heat index. This evening, between 7 and 9, storms develop from the south and lift northward. We do have a WRAL weather alert day for the chance of wind damage. Overnight low, 72. Tomorrow, we'll see highs in the mid-80s. And once again, between 10 and 3 p.m., we'll have the potential for strong to severe storms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 95 points to 42,857.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits!
Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Monday. New week. Make it work for you. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox back producing the show. And college athletes everywhere rejoice. Your school can now pay you cash. Student athletes, we can debate the order later. Athletes, students. Yeah, maybe there's a shakeup happening there.
Employee, I don't know.
Employee. Independent contractor. I don't know. We can debate it. All I know is the courts, the judges, the billable hours have all led to it's finally official. Schools no longer have to sweep it under the table. They can pay their players straight up. The money is capped as far as revenue share, right? So the money that the schools can pay the players is capped. There is a whole other can of worms with the additional potential endorsements and NIL money that players are still allowed to earn. Because they're going to try to. This is all about effort here, because I don't think they're going to be able to do it. But they're going to try to make it so all endorsement deals are market value. So there's no players out there, right? This was the old, I think it was Rhett Bomar, the quarterback of Oklahoma, who was like working one hour a week at a car dealership and was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're going to try to limit that. So it's not like, hey, I signed, four autographs and showed up at an event for a couple of high rollers, and look at that, I made $600,000. There's gonna be a third-party system that is supposedly approving all of those deals, but we made a big step. We made a big step because my question is, and this is what I think most of our questions lead to, this is where we all want to be. When will paying college athletes be so normalized that we can get back to talking about sports? When will it become so blasé, so how it is, so just the way that they do things, that it's no longer an argument about how it once was, how it should be. It's no longer an argument about the players don't care anymore. All they care is the money. And we can actually get back to, hey, this team, their offensive line is good. Rather than, did you hear this team spent $4 million on just their offensive line? I just want to talk about the football or basketball. Or, look how much size they brought in the offseason. Yeah, it's 3 of the top 5 bigs in the portal. That's going to cost you a pretty penny. I just want to talk about the sports. What are we looking at, 5 years? Now that it's legal, teams will be paying 10 years till it's – nobody complains that professional athletes get paid. How long did that take? The answer is, and I believe this is an accurate answer, when all the loopholes are fixed and closed. That is when we can all move on and we can all take it as, all right, we're all operating under the same rules. Every school is doing the same thing. Sure, some budgets are more, but it's within these parameters when all the loopholes are fixed. And I think one of them is going to be Deloitte is the third party that's being tasked with approving all major NIL deals that are not coming from the school?
Yeah, so it is the College Sports Commission, which is also formed from this as well, is going to use Deloitte, which I guess is some sort of accounting company or something along those lines.
Yep.
But it's anything over $600 that's not coming directly from the school or the school collective.
That's not within that cap.
Yeah.
So that's not being accounted for from the school paying the players. If it's coming from a car dealership, if it's coming from a shoe sponsorship, like we saw Cooper Flag with New Balance, if it's anything like that, you're going to have to put those through this third committee. What is it called? The Commission on College.
The College Sports Commission.
There you go. Which is, like you said, kind of powered by Deloitte.
I don't know how long that's going to last, to be honest, because the way I look at it is like fair market value. It's like, well, this is so new. What is considered fair market value? To me, the value is whatever someone's willing to pay me. If someone wants to pay me $1 million to go do something, that's my value.
I think their argument is you have to. They might have to prove how much their business benefits from it. Like, hey, we spent $500,000 on this player. We expect sales to go up by $600,000. I don't know. What the problem I have with it is fair market value isn't fair competitively.
Yeah. Like, how do you determine this?
How do you determine it is a great question. But also, fair market value, does it just mean more in the South? Or actually, we'll go right here. College basketball where we live, and I've lived all over the country. I think I totaled it up a couple weeks ago. I think it's 9 states. I'll tell you right now, college basketball here, it just means more. Okay?
It means more.
There you darn right it does. A starting point guard on one of the college basketball teams in North Carolina goes to Applebee's to sign autographs, more people will show up than in other parts of the country. I promise you. So is there fair market? So they show up at Applebee's. I'm just picking Applebee's. I don't know why that's the one. Some restaurant to sign autographs, and they bring a certain amount of people, and all this money comes in. So, all right, you're allowed to pay them $10,000 to that, picking round numbers. Somewhere else in the country, there's a school that's supposed to compete with the basketball schools here in this part of the country. They send a player to Applebee's, and 15 people show up. They try to get paid $10,000. Deloitte comes in. You didn't get $10,000 worth of value. They're going, they did the same thing. They're in the same league. They put in the same work. Why can they get paid more than the other? That's not fair competitively, even if it might be fair market value. And I don't see how you make those rules. It's not like the Dallas Cowboys quarterback is allowed to make more off the field for the same act than the Panthers quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one loophole. The other loophole is the way that they're accounting this, meaning the revenue share is the limit, right? So there's going to be essentially a salary cap. It's without getting too confusing, it's expected to be a little north of $20 million.
20.5.
That goes towards the entire athletics program. There's a certain percentage, around 75%, that can go to one sport. Excuse me. So 20.5, roughly 75% of that for most schools can go to football. Everything else has to be divided up, and there's women's sports requirements. There's a bunch of other creative lingo.
It'd be roughly around $15 million for football, if that's the way you want to go with it.
Per year.
Per year, yeah.
Which is fascinating because school like Alabama, right, just because we always use Alabama as like the bloated, just engorging themselves example. They're going to have enough money from the school plus NIL to fund a top-level team every single year. If you are I don't want to say mid-major, like a mid-Power 5 team where your school is committing $15 million to football every year, so you're maxing out what you're allowed to give in revenue share to the football team every year. But you maybe don't have all that NIL support, all of that outside approved by Deloitte support. You could, theoretically, pay out all of your 2025 money on December 28th for next season's football year, and then pay out all of your 2026 money before football season starts the 2026 season, and pay 1 year's roster $30 million because you're getting 2 years full $15 million, which could potentially lead to some schools basically trying to compete every other year. Some schools basically saying, and I doubt they'd go 0 and 100%, but they might go, let's play 25% this year and 75% next year, and then 25% and 75%, and do that over and over again, which just creates a really weird competitive schedule. Oh, guess what? How excited are we? We caught Boston College on our schedule when they're paying nobody. Our rivals playing them next year. They're paying twice as much. So there are loopholes. And by the way, I'm being one of my biggest pet peeves right now. I'm all problems, no solutions. These are issues that will pop up. I guarantee you, and more that I don't see coming. I don't pretend to be, the most knowledgeable lawyer that has read through all the legalese. Like, there's going to be other loopholes that are exposed. Once they have most, if not all of those closed, then give it 3 or 4 or 5 years. Then we're going to get to where it's normal. Until then, it's still going to be weird. There's still going to be, difficulties in explaining it. There's still going to be teams that maybe push the line and go ahead and win a bunch, and teams that are afraid to push the line and they get past. And I still don't know what kind of enforcement there is.
Yeah, they'll still find loopholes.
I don't know what the punishment is if you break some of these rules.
Yeah. Well, like, for example, here might be a loophole right here. I think I just found one, Tim.
I love it.
So you have, for example, you have to report any outside NIL deal that's worth over $600, right? Who says, like, don't do a $600 deal every day? One deal, $600 for today.
Yep.
$600 for today. Guess what? I don't have to report that.
Or
like, who says a business can't do that?
I mean, we're just spitballing now, just trying to break rules. A collective has what, 10,000 donors, 10,000 people. I didn't do one deal with the collective. I did $10,600 deals with each of the members of the collective.
Exactly.
Those don't have to go through Deloitte. I don't pretend to think that this isn't a step in the right direction. Players should get paid. Schools should be allowed to pay them. I think there's going to be a lot of messy before we get smooth with this one. And we'll be here to talk about it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9.
You should ask Dave Doeren about it.
Oh, we absolutely will. We have actually Dave Doeren coming up at 3:30, the head coach of NC State football. This was scheduled before the official judge's ruling, but you're darn sure we're going to ask about how they're dealing with it. right? State's one of the schools that has to deal with ever-changing rules, and we'll hear from the head man, Dave Doeren himself, coming up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline later this hour. Right now, we'll hear from our very own Dennis Cox. He's got something for you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, I don't know about you all, but it's kind of difficult to do some of those things that you enjoy doing when you're physically uncomfortable, you're physically in pain. And unfortunately for me, recently I suffered a back injury, and I can't really ride my motorcycle very well. And you know what? That's also a reason for me to just stay off the motorcycle. One thing you have to make sure that you are capable, make sure that you're physically capable of handling the motorcycle that you choose to ride. Because I know for me, I can't handle a 1,000-pound touring motorcycle, especially when I'm riding around Raleigh. So make sure you make smart decisions before you get on the bike. Or if you're looking at purchasing a motorcycle, that it is the best motorcycle out there for you. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact your insurance companies, because we all know insurance companies want to give you the least amount possible. Whereas Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what you're going through after an accident. They know what your bike and your gear are worth. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. At 3:30, as we mentioned, we are expecting to hear from Dave Doeren, head coach, NC State football. When we come back, though, I had a deja vu. Why was I watching the NBA Finals and having deja vu to screaming about Sebastian Aho? Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins. Quote, if the Yankees were the last team to give me a contract, I'd retire.
I respect it.
I feel the same way. If this show didn't make it and the only job I could get in media was as the Rams team reporter, I would become a barista.
I love it, Smalls. I love it.
Before I would ever take a check from those people.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved approved credit. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against Euro sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Álvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit SomosLocales.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Carolina can clear. It's dropped back here for he scores! He got the shot through. Bobrovsky couldn't stop it, and it's 2-0 Carolina. Oh, he put enough mustard on it, and it's 2-0.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The NBA Finals are tied up 1 game apiece. Thunder convincingly winning Game 2, which means Tyrese Haliburton of the Pacers goes from everybody's cup of tea, everybody's new superstar, to everybody's got their crosshairs singled right out on him. And the irony of it all is I felt a real deja vu of some conversations we've had about Sebastian and the Canes, particularly in the postseason. I know right now, right, afternoon drive, somewhere in Indiana, right, some Pacers, they've covered him all year. They've covered him for years for Tyrese Haliburton, is sitting there going, I know he does so much good for the team. I know he makes so many of the little winning plays, talking about Tyrese Haliburton. I know he runs the system so well. I know Carlisle, their coach, absolutely loves him, and he makes everybody around him look better. But gosh darn it, I want him to shoot the ball more. I know I'm being nitpicky and greedy, but I want him to demand the ball, ISO, and shoot. Very similarly to what the push and pull I have with Sebastian on this show throughout the entire postseason. I know he's great in the face-off circle, and his two-way hockey is unbelievable, but gosh darn it, do you see the way some of these other superstars play? Go shoot! And it's probably a flaw with us more than it is with them. They play the game they think is the best way to win. But it is true that the I call them trading card statistics. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you grab your trading card and you just flip it over and you look for stats. Nobody's looking for, like, you know, defensive win shares. Nobody's looking for pace of play when I'm on the floor.
Usage rate, is that on there?
No, you're looking for, like, points. You're looking for goals. You're looking for home runs. You're looking for RBIs. You're looking for the trading card statistics. So I'm gonna bring up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has scored a bunch of points. Matter of fact, I believe it's the most ever through your first 2 finals games. One ahead of Allen Iverson, who had the 48 points in his first ever. He scored a bunch of points. He was a big part of the collapse in Game 1. He missed the shot right before Haliburton hit the shot to win the game. He left that door open, but no one's going to talk about that because you can point to points. You can spotlight baskets made, and everybody gets excited. Haliburton was quiet. scoring points-wise, taking shots-wise. And then in game 2, he didn't hit the clutch shot, so he stinks. And there's nothing to point to. That doesn't make you sound like a real nerd where you're going like, well, actually, when he's on the floor, then no, and it's the same Sebastian Aho thing. Sebastian Aho hits an overtime game winner. Oh man, he's the best in the world, right? And everybody agrees, and he's underrated, and he's a superstar. But if he doesn't make the overtime game winner, that doesn't change the way he played in regulation. Yet we're all sitting around doing the same thing going, I really wish he would have shot more. It's almost. And this is, goes into the LeBron and Kobe and Jordan argument. It's almost like we'd rather you take the shot and miss because then we just know you're a killer instinct guy. We'd rather Haliburton lose going 3 for 18 than have him lose and make all the small plays right because then at least we know you wanted the game on your shoulders. And I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's the way sports is. And hearing all of the Haliburton talk, I'm going, I've been there. I get it. No, I know where you're struggling with. You like the player, he makes the winning plays, and you're upset with it because you have this ideal version of a superstar in your head, and he doesn't play that way. There's only one way you can silence everybody. Win the whole darn thing. If Aho doesn't do that, he's always going to be a level below where he should be. And if Haliburton doesn't do that, he's going to get a lot of heat this offseason. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Rates, they go up. We're talking mortgage rates, interest rates. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. The only consistency is inconsistency, at least from where I'm sitting. The other consistency is Miller Lending is always there to offer you a no closing cost loan. They've been doing no cost loans since 1987. Gordon has. Miller Lending's been doing it since they showed up in the area, locally owned in Cary, for decades. And here's why they're consistent. There's a bunch of other mortgage companies, lenders, brokers that'll suddenly pop up with no closing cost loans when rates are really low and it's real competitive. Then when the rates get a little bit higher, all of a sudden those offers go away. Not from Miller Lending. They are all about, no matter what the rates are, no matter what's going on, making sure you have a no-cost option. No cost, no fees, nothing out of your pocket. If you had a sky-high rate, you may already be able to call, refinance, and lower that monthly payment. Here's the number to call if you're into it. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is the equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We're expecting Dave Doeren, head coach NC State football, to join us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline next. Don't go anywhere.
Golf's third major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover the U.S. Open from Oakmont Country Club. Find out if Bryson DeChambeau can go back-to-back or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Champions Trophy. Coverage of the U.S. Open on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Wilson Country Club. Experience the rich history of this must-play course.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made from scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow Time.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent Trane dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Garner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. And we are joined on the Heister Automotive Group hotline by the head coach of the NC State football team, Dave Doeren. Dave, thank you very much for taking the time and jumping on the show.
You bet, Tim.
Everybody, the judges finally made the ruling. Revenue share is allowed, and it's coming to college football. So I won't dance around it. How much money are we talking on the football side of things? Like, are we shopping top shelf?
Yeah, well, it's been something that's been, a long time coming. Obviously, it's been in the news forever. Excited that they're starting to have some guardrails around it and, some equality when it comes to what each school can spend. And then obviously it's up to each athletic director to make their decisions on their sports. But we're excited. And, I know at NC State, we're going to be very competitive.
Is that the way it goes? Like if you feel you need more money, are you going to the athletic director? Is that kind of the hierarchy?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
And I appreciate you for answering this because it's all brand new. What's your understanding of what you brought up the guardrails, the Deloitte kind of third-party NIL evaluators? What's your understanding of what they will and will not allow as far as NIL deals for your players?
Well, that's kind of going to be the new piece in this. Any deal that's $600 or more will go through that third-party verification. And, the way they've explained it to us is they've got an algorithm put together that basically tells you whether those are fair deals or not based on the market value that they determine through all these things they've done with NBA, NFL, and so on for what players should be able to make in that space. To be able to answer that, I'm going to have to go through it, because this is the first time we've had that. So, based on the understanding, there's a lot of oversight. They've got really good software that they're using, which they've shown all the coaches, and we'll just have to get through it. It's really learn by doing right now, but it's nice to know that there is some oversight. There is some definite enforcement. They're going to be doing things, standard for each school, which all you ask for in the NCAA is as level a playing field as you can so that the talent and the coaching can be a major player in it.
Dave Doeren, NC State football coach, connecting with us here on the Drive on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Coach, if you start talking brand awareness, right, so many things in football, the most famous is the quarterback. Do you have conversations with C.J. Bailey about how his life may change with all of this and with the money and the fame and everything that comes with, the changes in college sports?
Yeah, I think, one thing you have to do with all these guys, even pre-NIL, when a guy has a really good freshman year, you worry about him. You worry about their humility. You worry about, what got them there is what made them have that opportunity. And sometimes the pats on the back and, we call it the big head, can get in the way of really the process. And CJ is a really humble guy. He's got an incredible family. But anytime a guy comes in highly ranked, he's going to have a lot of accolades, and he's got to learn how to manage that. And that's definitely a part of our job, is to be a part of that process and make sure that they are, and if they need help, that we give it to them. And then you try to be in front of it, as a guy's young and having that success to talk to the player, talk to the parents, and make sure they know that we're available to them. And, we've been a part of this. We've seen guys really succeed in that space and seen guys fail. And it happens to coaches too. I think we're all human beings, and it's easy to get caught up in that, and forget about what got you there. And so, you try to use your common sense and let your relationships grow in those moments, because it is an opportunity to help them as young men.
When it comes to playing time and statistics and everything, now that it could be tied to literally more money for these players if they have a big season or a breakout, do you how? I don't even know if you may have dealt with this already, but do you anticipate maybe some more disgruntled nature from players because there's a little bit more scratch on the line?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Right, I assume with these guardrails, right, the better player you are, the higher your NIL deals can be. When statistics decide a lot of that, an unhappy receiver that's just unhappy because they're not getting the ball very often is different than an unhappy receiver who feels like you're taking money out of his pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really dealt with that. It's definitely something that could happen. I think for us, it's about the team. It's about winning. And, the way that we've set things up, which a lot of teams have done, you have a general manager and your recruiting office that handles a lot of those financial conversations. Our job, why we got into this space and why we continue to do it, is helping young people, competing, building chemistry, building brotherhood, and teaching these guys how to grow up, not just as football players, but as men. And, the stuff you're talking about really hasn't happened at NC State, but doesn't mean it can't. And, for me to continue being the coach that I want to be, it's not about talking numbers. It's about talking about winning and what it takes to be a great team.
Dave Doeren, NC State football coach, joining us here on the Drive. Coach, let's get to some of the changes that impact more of the football side of things. What is your ideal format for a college football playoff, right? Now that they're changing the seedings and making some other tweaks, what would you do in Dave Doeren czar world where you get to control everything? What's the playoff look like?
I do think the conference champion from the Power 4 schools should have an automatic. And after that, I think the top 12 teams ought to be the teams that play in it. you take 12 games of the regular season and 13 in some cases when you play in a conference championship and you're settling it on the field, and your strength of schedule obviously is a part of that equation, and how the committee ranks all of these teams after all that hard work. The teams that have done the best and have put themselves in that top 12 are the ones that ought to be in the playoffs, in my opinion. And the teams that are ranked 1 through 4 ought to be the ones that, get the best opportunity as far as the bye week or the home game or however they're going to put it together. And some of this depends on if they're expanding or not expanding, but, whether it's 12, 14, or 16, that's how I'd like to see it. You hate to see a team left out that's in the top 12 if there's 12 teams playing. For other reasons. I'm not in favor of 4 AQs or 3 AQs or whatever those conversations have been. If a conference has 8 teams in the top 12, let them all be in. If they have 1, then they get 1 in. And year to year, different conferences are stronger than others, and I think it ought to be based on the body of work at the end of the season.
Well, we're going to need to, if you're going to chase those goals, right, the offense is going to be a big part of it. What are the biggest changes, or more specifically, how will we know this is a Kurt Roper offense now that he's taken over at offensive coordinator compared to years past when he's been on the staff but not the OC?
Well, obviously that'll play out in the fall. I think, Kurt's a guy that believes in being multiple with formations and motions, and, he loves to stress the defense in multiple ways. I think the run game is something that matters a lot to me and Kurt, and, being able to utilize the strengths that we have in the backfield along with CJ's arm. I always feel like when you have a run game, your pass game improves. It makes defenses play you more, two-dimensional. They can't just sit on your pass game, and they've got some talented runners here. And so, I think you'll see a little more balance in what we should be able to do with the run game.
Now, normally, like if I were talking to you kind of this time of the year, this question would be about the hype spring ball guy, right? Because there's always someone from the spring practice that we don't know who makes a catch or has a big play, and that's kind of here. It wasn't available to the public this year. So who would have been? Who would I be asking about now that surprised you in some of the bigger moments of spring ball?
The running back that we redshirted a year ago, Jaden Duke Scott, had a great spring. He really emerged in that room as far as an unknown from the fan standpoint, because I didn't get to see him play last year. So we're excited about what he did this spring. He would be the one probably that jumps to mind offensively, along with a tight end that transferred in here, Cody Hardy, who really had a good spring for us. Excited about what those guys can do. Defensively, it was a fun spring. We've evolved on that side of the football, and so got to see a lot of guys do a lot of different things. A lot of fun to see, the competition. There's a lot of guys competing for jobs over there. And so, probably the guy that stood out day in and day out that you wouldn't know.
Oh, come on, spit it out, Coach. I was going to say, I know there's a name.
Wallace. I know there's several of them, but, to get to one, I would say Jazz Wallace had a really good spring for us, a defensive lineman.
Do you like kind of the low-key offseason? Last offseason, there were such high-profile transfers, obviously more access for spring ball. Do you kind of like and your basketball team's taking up a lot of eyeballs with the new coach. Do you like kind of being more low-key this offseason, or do you like kind of the other way last year where you were in the headline so much?
I definitely like creeping up on people. There's no doubt about it. I think at the same time, when your program earns attention, it's great for your program. But, going into the season with a group of guys that feel like they have a lot to prove, being in the shadows isn't a bad thing. And this group's got a lot to prove, coaches and players. So we're excited about what we've been doing here since January and the guys that we've added and the work that we've put in. And the fact that nobody's mentioning us is just fine.
We're talking with Dave Doeren. Dave, just a few more before we let you go. How is your relationship with Will Wade? Have you spent much time with him since he's taken over the basketball program?
Not a lot. He's been working pretty hard, I got to sit down with him in his first week on campus, get to know each other, and we've been at a few booster events together. But I know what it's like to get to a school and have to recruit and hire a staff. So I know Will's working really hard. I obviously see who he's getting on his team with social media, and excited for him. And I know he's looking forward to getting his team here and working with them. But the few interactions we've had have been great.
You have your kind of one-day camps, your 7-on-7 stuff going on this time of the year. I love a good remember that guy or a good remember when. Who's the best one-day camper you can remember? Somebody that showed up maybe off the radar and had like a scholarship offer in 20 minutes. Can you give us one of those guys?
B.J. Hill, who's still starting for the Bengals, nose guard, came in here and at that time had no offers, and by the end of the camp circuit had multiple. But he really impressed us, and he came to our camp, went to the other local schools, and then came back the next day, and we were fortunate to get him to commit. And he was a 240-ish pound defensive lineman and a running back in high school, and ended up being a great nose guard for us, and has been the same, in his NFL career.
Just because you led me here, reports came out today that Jermaine Pratt he's being released by the Bengals, another one of your guys, defensive player that played for you. How involved are you in tracking and maybe even throwing some advice to your former players in the league as they navigate their career and deal with the ups and downs?
Yeah, I actually saw that. I was at lunch here. We've got some recruits in town and saw it on the ticker, so I haven't had a chance to reach out. But I try to be as involved as I can be. Some of those guys are around here all the time, and we see them in the off season, and some of them have families now. And in Jermaine's case, he's got a lot of kids, and so you don't get to see him as much. But I'd be shocked if he's not re-signed by another team quickly. He's done a great job for the Bengals.
Dave, any big plans for the offseason? You're out there they're fishing or anything going on?
Definitely be fishing at some point. Looking forward to just relaxing with the family and not doing a whole lot. The more I can do less, the better when we get to the summer. So, yeah, you come out of that May time pretty traveled out. And then June for us is a massive sprint, between player development with our own team, building leadership with your own team, and then the recruiting with the official visits that are going on. It's a lot. And so, you look forward to those few weeks that you get at just downtime.
Well, I hope they're biting, Coach, and thank you very much for jumping on the show.
Thanks for having me. Have a great summer. Go Pack.
Once again, that is Dave Doeren, NC State football coach, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, breaking down what I have to imagine is a very difficult time to be a head coach with rules changing literally every day.
Yeah, you're having to adapt on the fly, just like everyone else. Coaches have to adapt on the fly for this too. It's now we have a general manager. Now we have to worry about if someone's complaining about their NILs.
It's now I have a general manager. Now my general manager is asking for more money. My general manager just talked to this. Like there's so much that is just, I think. First of all, Coach Doran's always very open and answers our questions to the best that I think he can. Mm-hmm. But I do think he had like a real moment of like reflection where he hit the, why you get into this business is to build a brotherhood, and you want to coach, and now we're just talking numbers. And it was like he had that moment of, it's changed a lot. He's been at State for a long time now, and it's changed a lot even since he showed up here in Raleigh.
I can only imagine how much more difficult it is to coach at the collegiate level than it might even be at the NFL level right now with everything that's going on, because in the NFL, I'm just coach, general manager, front office. You get me players. I'll give my opinion on who we're going to go get, but you guys sign contracts, all that stuff. I coach them. But now as a college coach, I have to worry about, well, is this player going to leave after this year? Like, what if they're not happy? How much they're getting paid? There's so much that goes into it. Oh, and I got to recruit all these guys. There's a lot more that goes into the collegiate game right now than I think it does even in the NFL.
Or even comparing, let alone college to the NFL, like what Dave Doeren is being asked to do and what Will Wade is being asked to do.
Yeah.
Where Will Wade, he took this job in this atmosphere, right? Part of the negotiations were NIL budgets and front office staff and GM and all of these things. So it's more what he expected. Dave Doeren, when he took over, there was no conversation about it, right? The conversations were, hey, we had to make sure we're compliant in not paying players, and we have to make sure that, we're not doing any of this. And having to change all of that while you're on the job, it's just a different beast. And that goes for every longtime coach, right? Anyone that's been in the game for a long time, and it's why so many coaches are retiring and citing it's a different game than the one I got into. I tend to agree and respect those like Doeren that are sticking it out and changing and adapting and trying to be flexible and figure all of those sorts of things out.
Well, we saw Jeff Hafley go from head coach of Boston College to go be defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend, and I won't blow his spot up because this would not be good for recruiting. I have a friend that coaches I'll say in college sports.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He has mentors both in college and professional levels that have told him he's coaching in college. Good job, right? Got a family supporting him, all that, those sort of things. Who have told him like the race is to get to the pro level.
I believe it.
Every young hotshot assistant like you is in a race for the jobs at the pro level because it's so much more enjoyable and straightforward than it is in college.
Yeah.
So those that are hanging around college and sticking it out, they love their school and they love what they do and they love the age group they're coaching and so much other stuff. And I guess they love getting those guys a bunch of money because that's what they're going to be doing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This is appropriate. Talk about the colleges or the changes in college sports. Let's start highlighting some college sports newsmakers with a little Dean's List action. Classes in session. First one, and this is cool. Like, Dick Vitale makes the Dean's List. There are weird kind of moments where you know you made it, right? The first time X happens, right? In sports, I imagine, the first time, like if you're a professional athlete and the first time your picture is on a ticket or on a program or something that says like, oh, this team is invested in me, right? They're not going to cut the guy that's on the ticket for week 12. Like it's a low-key thing that shows you've made it. Dick Vitale has done darn near everything in broadcasting, right? He's big games. He's been featured. He's been mimicked or impressioned on Saturday Night Live, right? He's done a bunch of stuff. They're naming an event after him. ESPN Events, in collaboration with Charlotte Sports Foundation, has announced the creation of the Dick Vitale Invitational.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, the Bahamas Classic or whatever, only it's the Dick Vitale Invitational, a new men's college basketball event that will annually honor Dick Vitale, who celebrates his 86th birthday today. And the inaugural Dick Vitale Invitational, Texas versus Duke at the Spectrum in Charlotte. It'll be the opener for Duke.
Wow.
The season opener in Charlotte. Texas versus Duke, Spectrum Center in Charlotte. It's scheduled for Tuesday, November 4th on ESPN. I mean, having the event named after you is one of those, like, I didn't know it, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, when it's offered up, like the Jimmy V Classic, like it's the Dick Vitale Invitational. And in golf, they do this, right? There's the Memorial, which is Jack's tournament. There's the Byron Nelson. There's the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Dick Vitale gets like a college basketball invitational named after him. Congratulations to you, Dickie V.
Nice.
And Texas versus Duke, season opener. That's a good one. I mean, would you be, no disrespect to these schools, they're like, hey, we're giving you the Dick Vitale Invitational. We have Stony Brook at Austin Peay in mid-November. Oh, all right.
Yay.
Thanks.
What's the spread?
Yeah, there we go. We have Texas Duke to open the season. All right. Yeah, you guys, you do like me. That's pretty darn cool. Dennis, do you have some Dean's Listers you'd like to throw on here?
I actually have two.
Let's hear them.
So the soccer tournament, TST, is taking place at Wake Med Soccer Park out in Cary. Well, a couple names coming from that. So the U.S. women's national team has a bunch of former members like Allie Krieger, Heather O'Reilly, friend of the show, Carly Lloyd. Well, they also feature two youngins that have ties right here to the triangle. And their win in the semifinals that put them in the championship. You know who scored the opening goal? Bella Devi, a incoming freshman for UNC women's soccer. Wow. Incoming freshman, playing with some legends. You know the game-winning goal? Tessa De La Rose, UNC women's soccer player, currently on their team, rising junior singer, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, two local kids right here in the triangle have a chance tonight for their share of $1 million.
I was going to say, do they get the cut?
Yeah, they should.
It used to be, I'm an amateur. I like golfers would do this. I can't accept any of the money. No, they're playing for it now. They're playing for it. I mean, imagine that. incoming freshman at like 2-a-days starting off training camp. Well, when I was playing with Carly Lloyd this offseason, here's the way she wanted me to run it.
Let me show you what Carly Lloyd taught me.
You're still a freshman. Hit the line. That's how it would go in football. I assume soccer as well. How about this for the Dean's List? I mean, college athletes everywhere. I feel like we have to mention this a bunch of times. College athletes are going to get paid by the school. Even if those UNC, I assume if they're good enough to be on the national team, they're also good enough for some NIL money. They're not just winning their cut. They're also probably getting a little scratched kicking soccer balls around in Chapel Hill. If you have some leverage, it's a good time to be a college. I mean, a little behind the scenes here. Internally, right, we're always trying to get better. Our PD, Paul's giving us some interview touch-ups. Make sure you guys are on your P's and Q's watching the film for how we interview. So I was watching some interviews today and checking for other, basically self-scouting. And I can tell you this. If you watch interviews around sports media, do you know what is the number one question for any good athlete that's retired? How awesome would it have been if you played college now? How much money would you have been making? And then they all go, oh, geez, a lot. And you move on. Not the best question for drawing answers, but it is something a lot of people are interested in. So, college athletes getting paid. There you go. A lot of money to be had there. Got to give a shout out here. I mean, this is not intentional, but we did mention Will Wade with Dave Doeren. NC State basketball. ESPN put out their final best transfer class for men's basketball rankings. NC State, 13th best transfer class in the country.
Okay, well done.
That's very well done, especially when you consider some of the deep pocket organizations that are competing with them. And also, this was the goal for Will Wade. When he took over, right, we had the audio right from his introductory press conference. Right, the plan was, hey, we're not going to live off the transfer portal, but the first couple of years we're going to have to be very heavy in it as we kind of turn over the roster and get in guys that the new staff is comfortable with. So to need to and then do it is nice. In the future, if they have a 13th overall class, that's like, oh, we wanted to and it happened. This year was kind of, it needed to, right? There wasn't a lot returning. You had to go get a lot of talent, and they did. And then last one here on the Dean's List. Got to give a shout out to my Delaware Blue Hen football fans. We got the renderings. We're in the game. This version of college football, we're in it, baby.
Oh, College Football 26?
The video game. We got the renderings. They have the stadium. It looks like Delaware Stadium.
Nice.
First time since 2009 or something like that we've been in the game. Because we're FCS. That wasn't in there for a long time. Now we're FBS. We're in the game. I've heard the rankings, the ratings for us aren't going to be high, but the stadium looks like our stadium.
Are you going to create yourself and put yourself on Delaware?
Every year I say I don't have a system that can play the game. Every year
that can change.
Every year I say I'm going to get one. This might be the thing that puts it over the top. The thing is, my son is still a little too young to say it's for him, which is the ultimate Trojan horse, right? I got him a system, and he goes to bed at 8. I don't know what happens with the Xbox after that. But if I do, then you're darn right I'm going back and creating my whole team from 2010. What are you talking about? And we're going to be way better than we actually were. Watch out, National Championship. I am 14 years old all over again. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's Dean's List. Let's go ahead and dismiss the class. There it is. And I'm dismissing the class so I can teach you something. Tim Donnelly here from Maynard Service Company. And this lesson is simple. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Ironically, some things that they should probably teach more about in school, but you usually end up leaving with no real idea unless you get taught somewhere else in the School of Hard Knocks on how to fix those things. Maynard Service Company, they're big on education as well, right? Their technicians in all four facets, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, they have consistent trainings throughout the year. This is and right? Maynard makes sure, right? They'll put them on the clock to be trained, which is an exceptional way to go about business, because that way the technicians, when they come to your house, they're not like, oh, haven't seen this one before. Let me try to figure it out. They're showing up with, oh, I know exactly how to fix this. Here's the part you need. Here's the piece you need, or whatever it is. And they can fix it quickly, efficiently, and for an appropriate cost, right? We're talking a good deal. The number to call, 919-361-0993. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, maintenance, and obviously when something goes wrong, right? When something breaks at the worst possible time, 24/7 service all across the Triangle. Maynard Service Company. Just give them a call, 919-361-0993, or visit them online at maynardservices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, football at 4, where we talk about some best friends who weren't best friends at some point last year. Stick around.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Longer days mean longer rides. Make sure your bike, your ATV, your side-by-side, even your golf cart are the best around. From sound station and security, we've got custom stereo systems, custom speakers, even video and LED lighting options for your bike, your ATV, and even your golf cart. Look the coolest on the road or at the lake, just tooling around. All available with installation from Sound Station and Security, with 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. We're close to crowning a hockey champion, and when I'm not calling playoff games around the country, the first thing I do when I'm back in the Triangle is head to Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet, and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Feeling awfully hot out there. Heat index in the mid-90s with a high of 90 degrees. We have showers and storms in the forecast, but not until after dinner time. So between 7 and 9, strong to severe storms are likely to develop, with wind damage being the biggest threat. 72 overnight tonight, and another threat for severe storms between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. tomorrow with a high of 86.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 1 point. That's right, down 1 point to 42,761.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan, and this is Football at 4. So, it's always a great way. So, right? Feels like that's the what's the that awkward moment? The so? That's when you know a relationship is getting serious. So what are we? So, what are we doing? So, you want to meet my parents? That's when it gets to like the real stuff, right? So, Bryce Young and Dave Canales. So, what are we? So, is this for real? Is this for long term? Should I start ring shopping? Dave Canales and Bryce Young are friends. How nice is that? Well, first of all, and there's a reason why I'm making this particular analogy. They are part of what I call the 4 horsemen of the franchise. Owner, GM, head coach, quarterback have to be in alignment. They have to trust each other with their professional lives. They have to. And if there's something off in that chain of events, nothing else works. Everything in the franchise grows from that stem. So Dave Canales going to Bryce Young's youth camp a couple of days ago became big news. Multiple articles about it. ESPN, The Athletic, Twitter responses. It's all over the place. The Athletic had an article. It started with, as he walked out to the football field at Johnson C. Smith University for his football camp on a sunny Saturday morning, Bryce Young spotted his head coach standing on the sideline. That was the first sentence in the article. Xavier Legette was also there. A couple other players were also there. Hundreds of kids were also there. But it was like a meet cute, right? Bryce Young walked out of the tunnel and he locked eyes with his coach. Why? Because that relationship has gone through a lot, and that's why everybody's excited about it. There was, I don't know if people remember this, because it's time heals all wounds, and out of sight, out of mind, and we've dealt with like a Stanley Cup playoff run and all these other things. Dave Canales benched Bryce Young last year. And by the way, the only reason Bryce was put back in, at least by the way it was told to us, is because Andy Dalton got in a car accident. And then for weeks, when Bryce was playing well and Bryce was leading drives that could potentially win the game and he was playing well, Dave Canales refused to name him the starter moving forward. There was a lot of dodging in those post-game press conferences.
We'll gather all the information.
Yeah,
we'll make a decision later this week.
For this week. It wasn't even like we'll make a decision for the rest of it was like week by week. Now coming into this year, everybody's like, Canales gets his hands on Bryce for another year. Look at how exciting this is. Canales is showing up outside the youth camp. These guys are 2 peas in a pod. It hasn't been 10 months since Bryce was at least frustrated with the decision that Dave Canales made. Canales had this to say about their relationship, and this was at the camp, again, according to The Athletic. It's about this love and respect factor that we've grown with each other through hard times. Bryce, during the season, showed me his leadership, showed me that even when we were a struggling team, even when I took him out, he stayed in the center of it and he continued to lead. And for him to have the respect to say, look, I don't agree with your decision, coach, but working together to continue to grow this thing means so much. That's, first of all, coaches love that kind of stuff, right? They love when the quarterback gets benched, but he's still showing up to practice raw, like, all ready to roll, not sulking. Coaches love that. Then there's this other thing that happened right at the end of the year, right? The last game, Bryce Young, and I've been, middle of the road on Bryce for about his entire career in regards to how everyone's swayed on the spectrum. That Atlanta game was bananas. Like, just call a spade a spade. He lit it up.
5 touchdowns.
And felt like 17 touchdowns in that game. It was Oprah was, you get a touchdown, and you get a touchdown, and I get a touchdown, and he was running for him, throwing for him, he was doing it all. After that game, Canales finally said, like, hey, we got our guy. Bryce, on that comment from Canales, I appreciate the support. I'm grateful for the staff and for the team, obviously. Just believing in me and us going forward together, we all have a goal to win. There was a time where their relationship had to be repaired. I'm not sure, because we're not there on the day-to-day, it is fully repaired. There was a time where Bryce, I guarantee you, because you don't end up Bryce Young without being wildly competitive. Matter of fact, you don't even become a quarterback without having a pretty sizable ego. Think about the decision you make. And I played quarterback in college, so, maybe I'm wrestling with some things here. But, like, when you're 9 years old, you're looking at all your friends and going, one of us is going to have the ball every play. I think it should be me. That's the decision you make, right? The offensive linemen, the receivers, they don't have as much input into the outcome of the game. So Bryce thinks highly of himself. Whether he says so publicly or not, he's got some ego. And during the season last year, Dave Canales said, the best thing we can do for our team is take you out. And then he did it. That relationship is going to need to be repaired from there. And I'm just going to call it like this. They don't have to be friends. Trust and respect are a requirement, right? And I think if they come out on the other side of this, and by all accounts, it looks like they're hanging out at a youth camp together, which, by the way, Dave Canales brought his two daughters. They wore football gloves. I guess they were joining in, and Dave Canales was involved in talking with he wasn't just there to watch, he was there and participating and hanging out. I give Bryce a ton of credit for keeping the respect. Being benched is not easy. I can't imagine what it's like to be benched with as many eyeballs and spotlights on him as he had. And to be able to keep the big picture and say, I genuinely think I respect coach's decision. I think he's doing what he thinks is best for the team, rather than lash out and say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. First-time coach. The heck are we doing? He was only a coordinator for 1 year. That's big on Bryce. I give Canales a ton of credit for keeping the trust. Because once you see a quarterback do what Bryce Young was doing on tape his rookie year in the first 2 games of his second year, which led to the benching, there are a lot of coaches that'll just write you off. Go, I only get one shot at being a head coach. This might never come my way again. I am not depending on you regardless of what you look like. He gave Bryce the opportunity, as slow and as maybe reluctant as he was at the beginning. He gave him the opportunity to come back into it, to play his way back into the plans. Now, do you know what's the next step? Put that bad boy under pressure. Right? It's real easy to say, oh yeah, we had rough times last year, but now we're great in June. There's no pressure cooker like an NFL season. There's no pressure cooker like an NFL season. Every NFL game has the same importance as 10 Major League Baseball games, right? Just breaking down 162, or actually it used to be, it's a little less now because they play 17 games. That's a stat I've been saying for a decade. That's going to be hard to break. But it's essentially 5 NBA games. Every game. There's no pressure cooker like the NFL. Can these guys keep that respect, keep that trust when it's ramped up to 100 on a scale of 1 to 10? And then eventually, right, I do think friendship does come for coaches and quarterbacks, but that's after, like, legacies are secured. Like, I think Sean Payton and Drew Brees probably can get together and play golf as buddies, but, a Super Bowl and 1 billion records will fix that. I don't know if Brady and Belichick will. That might be a different beast. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. But I bet you Brady and, McDaniels could. Right? And some coaches do become friends. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis, it's been a while, but we have to update our ladder challenge.
As that, we do.
The rules have changed, and we're going to see how we stand when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
Here's Haliburton driving, lifting, shot up, good! With 0.3 of a second to go!
The Stanley Cup Finals.
Marchand, partial break, can't get the shot away. Now he scored! Looked like Skinner had covered it, and he pokes it through the Edmonton netminder for an overtime game winner.
The U.S. Open and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Gardner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We're a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. We take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come in, throw it in, and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there.
Newcomb & Company, your independent terrain dealer. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's been a while. I've been playing little side games, just sharpening my craft for the ladder challenge because Dennis and I have the month of June going on here. And by the way, we've changed the rules of the ladder challenge. There's no more odds restrictions on bets. We started with $10. Every time you get it wrong, you go back to $10. The only rule is if you win, you have to roll over the entire amount. Stake, payout, all of it. You can go minus 10,000 if you want to try to run out the clock. You can go plus 10,000 if you want to try to win it all in one swoop. Dennis, where did we leave it off with you? Was it both after the Paul Skeens thing?
Yeah, we were both there.
So I think I started with a little bit of money and I had a little bit better odds. I'm up to $28.20.
I'm up to $22.43 is where I'm at.
All right. So
I'm sorry, $22.48. Excuse me.
Don't want to get that wrong.
Nickel matters.
So we have every bet at our disposal. Just has to be completed by showtime tomorrow. We both, by the way, just for the record, last week we picked a random Paul Skeens game that was going on. I had 7 or more strikeouts without planning it. Dennis had 6 or more strikeouts, which is why I have a little bit more payout. He finished that game with 8. Have you seen what's happening to Paul Skeens, the Pirates pitcher? He
keeps throwing a lot of great games and gets no wins.
He has, over his last 7 games, like a 1.08 ERA, and he has 1 win in the 7 games. He's essentially like peak Cy Young Jacob deGrom, and he's winning nothing. Nothing. It's unbelievable. But we both had the over in strikeouts, and that seems to be a good bet. So we hit that, and we're rolling into tonight. I'll get it started since I'm leading off.
Yeah.
I'm going Leon Draisaitl.
Okay.
4 or more shots on goal. It's plus 135, so it's plus money. It would turn my 28.20 into 66.27. So I'm looking to get some good money here. He gets, correct me if I'm wrong here, he gets 2 or 3 shots on goal per game. And I'm acknowledging I am not a good skater nor hockey player.
Okay.
I think I could get those shots on goal because they're just on a platter from McDavid.
Yeah, it helps.
I have some hand-eye coordination, and I can stand on the other side of the goal and just wait for the puck to come find the tape of my stick. So if Draisaitl gets 2 or 3 free ones, I think 4 in a game where aggression is going to be high. These two teams understand how close and how hard-fought every game is going to be. And if Game 1 and Game 2 are any indicator, I'm going to get like 20 extra minutes at least for these shots on goal.
That's a good point.
To come because overtime is happening in every game. Half joking, but seriously. So Draisaitl, 4 more shots on goal, Game 3 tonight.
What are the odds on that?
Plus 135.
Okay.
So it's plus money. It'll turn my $28.20 into $66.27.
Give me anytime goal scorer tonight, Sam Reinhart.
Interesting.
Sam Reinhart playing on that top line. You're back at home for the Florida Panthers. Give me Sam Reinhart anytime goal scorer tonight. That's a plus 195. So my $22.48, Tim, will turn into $66.31.
You'd be 4 cents above me if we both get it right. Do you get bonus points if while Reinhart scores, Bennett is falling into the goalie?
As long as Reinhart's the last one to touch the puck for Florida, yes, I'll take it.
I'm just kidding. It seems like Sam Bennett is finding new and creative ways to tumble and get pushed and get tripped. And he's, did somebody put the Mario Kart banana peel behind him? Like, it's not my fault, but I keep falling into the crease.
Yeah.
It's good business.
Someone threw a blue shell. I don't know what you want me to do about this.
It's good business. I mean, It's annoying, but it's good business.
It's like, oh, look, another Sam Bennett goal. Go figure.
There it is. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, and then we'll have some decisions to make. We keep winning these, then you got to maybe put a little prevent defense out there. We'll see. It's a whole new game with the ladder challenge, the way it's structured.
It really is.
It's a whole new game right now that we're going to play on the Drive. It is winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
Winners and losers. Who's won, who's lost the last week. We're talking more than just who actually won games. Oh, this person's scored more runs than the other guy. They win. No, we're looking for vibes. Who won in kind of aura the last week. I have a couple that are pairs.
Okay.
So I have a winner and a loser here. They're paired. Winner, college athletes everywhere that get paid from the school, right? You do the same thing that athletes were doing 15 years ago. You just get paid handsomely for it, and they got nothing. So you're the winner, right? You were born at the right time. Loser, whoever has to enforce the NIL rules on payments for outside of rev share. Whoever is the enforcer, I don't even know what you would call it. The third-party commission that is being put together because outside of revenue share, which is the money that is being paid to players from the schools, there can still be endorsements. There can still be NIL deals, name, image, and likeness, right? So you can still get a deal from, New Balance, like Cooper Flagg got, or a Gatorade, like so many have gotten. But those deals are going to have to go into a commission, and they're going to have to be approved based on what we learned earlier today from Dave Doeren, head coach NC State football. There's an algorithm. So I guess they put in like a player's name, I don't even know how do you put a number on like signed autographs for two hours, and then they'll kick out an amount that is allowed to be given, like like an old school typewriter, or a calculator. Ding!
I got TI-83 going on over here.
Yeah, just a little bunch of number pressing and enter, and then it kicks out like you can make $10,000 for that endorsement. I don't know, but what I do know is if a coach promises a big recruit, we'll get you X amount of dollars in NIL. They go out and get X amount of dollars in NIL for that player, and then this commission comes back and says they're not allowed to get all that money. That coach is going to be pretty upset, and you're going to have to give them pretty good reasoning why. And that player's going to be pretty upset. Everybody's going to be pretty upset. Thus, in many cases, I think the messenger will be the one getting popped, if you know what I mean. Dennis, do you have some winners and losers?
I do. ACC baseball. The only team so far. Now, Duke baseball does play tonight, so there's still a chance to get a second team into the College World Series, into Omaha. But the only team that has advanced so far out of the Super Regionals is Louisville. The only ACC team, because they're playing Miami, another ACC team. So the one guarantee we have is the only one that's advanced so far. Florida State got eliminated in 3 games against Oregon State. North Carolina, even after crushing Arizona in the first game,
wasted all their runs in the 18-2 game 1.
They lose 4-3. There's an error on a double play that happened late in the game as well. Arizona ends up taking the lead, and they win at 4-3 yesterday. So there's another team gone. Like I said, Florida State doesn't make it either. So now the only hope is Duke to get to the College World Series. Again, alongside Louisville, but kind of where we are right now.
I had slight difference. I put the SEC and the ACC as losers.
Yeah.
Because the SEC only has LSU and Arkansas.
And Arkansas beat Tennessee, so that was like the one guarantee.
So Louisville and maybe Duke from the ACC, LSU and Arkansas from the SEC. Those were the 2 big bad bullies that were talking all the trash coming out of regionals.
Yeah.
And the SEC was talking all the trash going into the tournament. The ACC was talking all the trash, including me, coming out of regionals. They both got humbled pretty quick. But it is, winner parity in college baseball.
Because Coastal Carolina.
Coastal, Arizona, Oregon State, UCLA, maybe Murray State, a couple of SEC teams, maybe a couple of ACC teams. I mean, you could have, I think, 7 conferences represented in an 8-team field. Am I messing that up?
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous. And actually maybe a way that like the NIL payments and everything are creating parity in a sport where I thought for sure it would have created little monopolies. Like, I thought the SEC and the ACC would spend so much more money on baseball, it'd be 4-4 in these situations. Turns out not the case. But yes, the SEC and the ACC losers. Winner and loser. I just thought this was funny. Like, talk trash, bleep around and find out. Winner, Aaron Judge. Loser, Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins. Did you see this? Hunter Dobbins grew up in Texas, okay? Somehow diehard Red Sox fan, okay? Probably, I hope there's a family connection or something and he didn't just grow up when they were winning World Series and just chose them. But hey, as long as you chose him young enough, I won't get mad at how you get your fandom. Rookie told the media earlier this week, if the Yankees were the last team to offer him a contract, he'd retire. There's a dude that said, if my baseball career was going to be over or play for the Yankees, he said he'd retire. Later that week, he took the mound. Aaron Judge took him deep for a 436-foot 2-run home run. That's karmic justice. That's trash talk, right? Oh, you don't want to play with me? Oh, you don't want this run support? Boom! Red Sox did win the game, by the way. I think it was Red Sox. Either way, Hunter Dobbins was the guy for sure. So that's a winner and a loser. Winner, and this was just a way to shoehorn apparently what was an unbelievable tennis match for somebody that I don't really watch tennis. I guess TNT took over the French Open. Did you see this?
I did. I know they've been broadcasting the tournament.
And I guess they've done it up a little bit more, right? Something new. They've made it a bigger spectacle. And then they're gifted what I have been told is a top 5 match of all time, with Carlos Alvarez beating Jannik Sinner after going down 2 sets and then having to win 3 straight. And apparently there was bananas, intense break points that went forever, and advantages and over whatever's went a bunch. Again, I don't watch a ton of tennis.
There's a tie-breaking set in there too.
And it was all on clay, which makes it feel a little bit more chaotic. That's all I know about clay is you're sliding and slipping all over the place. I don't know. I like when somebody tries to heighten an event and they're gifted by a great event. You know what I mean? Like if they made the broadcast a bigger deal and then they're gifted a very entertaining game. I don't like it when, some bowl game tries to do something cool. They try to heighten it, make it different, and then they get a 40-0 blowout where both teams had all their best players opt out, and I'm just like, you tried. I like when you invest and you're gifted by a good, very entertaining game, and it seems like that's what happened at the French Open.
If you look at Alcaraz and Sinner, they've combined for the last 6 Grand Slams in tennis. So it's are we getting the latest of Nadal, Federer, Djokovic? Are we getting
one of those
that right now?
Of the torches?
Yeah, I'm all right, that's good for the sport.
I did see that Alvarez, who won, it was his 5th Grand Slam title. At his age, he's, one of the youngest to ever do it. He's 2 days older than Nadal when Nadal got his 5th Grand Slam title. They're both clay aficionados. There could be some of that going on. Could be some passing of the torches.
Then Coco Gauff wins her 2nd Grand Slam.
First American to win the French Open in a long time.
Yeah.
On either side. Partially because of Nadal and Alvarez. But no, Coco Gauff, she's knocking on the door of crossover appeal. She might just be real famous real soon. In the, Serena Williams kind of way where it's I don't pay attention to tennis, but she's a star. That's coming for Coco Gauff. And let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up there. That's a good solid winners and losers. Coco Gauff gets the last little honorable mention winner. Unless you had something you wanted to answer. I don't know. All right, cool.
I got enough.
Beautiful. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I should have added this one. A winner, casual hockey fans. Because the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Final have been entertaining as heck. Right? What's the cliche? I don't really like either of these 2 teams. I just want it to be close. I just want it to be entertaining. I just want it to be a good game. Check, and check. You got all 3. And not only that, right? The game 1 goes to overtime, and Edmonton wins it right at the end of the first overtime. Game 2 goes to double overtime, and Brad Marchand scores on a leak-out breakaway. Like, those are 2 classic games. And even better, there's big swings, right, where it feels like a literal heavyweight boxing match where they've gotten each other on the ropes like 3 or 4 times through the first couple of rounds, right? And yeah, I don't know if he's going to get out of this one. Oh, look, and now he's the aggressor. Like, that's happened a few times, and that's all you can ask for from an entertaining standpoint. The other thing that happens, and I'll use like classic heavyweight boxing as an example. There is some like Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman to it, where one is playing a super like pretty game, right? It's art, it's beauty, it's skill. And the other is like, I wonder how many haymakers I can launch between now and the buzzer. Every goal for the Oilers is not, maybe not every goal, but they get 1 or 2, should be hanging in a museum each game, right? McDavid with a toe drag, this move, this unbelievable touch to set up one of his teammates who goes top shelf. Perfect. It's like a video game goal. And then every goal for the Panthers is like we described earlier. It's like Sam Bennett being pushed into the goalie, and there's a rebound that goes in, or a 37-year-old Brad Marchand is somehow leaking out and out skating like outrunning all of the elite talents on the other side. It is just a dichotomy where 2 really good teams are alternating, finding their rhythm and dominating a game, and it's ended up in 2 classics, and they're playing again tonight.
You can listen to that on The Fan, by the way.
Right here, 99.9 The Fan. As always, when we talk about these kind of things, I look for lessons, right? I'm like, all right, our team's not in it. What can our team learn? I continue, based on what I just said, to think one of the big lessons of this series, this Stanley Cup final, is that there's more than one way to be one of the 2 best teams in the NHL, right? There, in a copycat league, you don't always have to chase one specific thing, which I think happens too often in sports, right? Oh, look, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Now everybody's going to spend more on offense and defensive lines, and that's all everybody's going to spend on. And I'm like, well, they already did that. And also the Chiefs were winning a bunch of Super Bowls before, just kind of piecing together whatever kind of offensive line they could find and spending on receivers and quarterback and defense. I think it's really nice to see, like, the Oilers can put darn near their entire salary cap on like 2 guys.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt when you hit on those guys in the draft.
Yeah, and they can also draft, what was it, number 1 overall, like 9 out of 10 years. They were right at the top. That's exaggerating, but only kind of. They were right at the top of the draft a bunch of years and did well with it. You can also be the Florida Panthers and maybe spread out have 4 waves of good lines coming at you, and you can have Kachuk in a trade and Marchand in a trade, and you don't have to do it all the same way. Basically, I'm saying there's more than one way to win a cup, and I'm not saying that Edmonton will or Florida will. I'm just saying they both easily could. So, taking that lesson to the next step, and this is why I like what the Canes do. Find your identity. Both of these 2 teams have an identity, right? They're not just going out and saying who's the best player. Let's get them. They're going out and saying who's the best fit, who happens to be a really good player. The Canes, I think, do that, and that's not always what the outsiders want them to do, right? It's the Mikko thing over again, right, where Mikko was obviously the best player available, but he wasn't the best fit available, and I don't think the Canes miss on that kind of thing very often. I think somewhere out there is not just a great player. There's a great scorer. There's a great second-line center. There's a great right-hand second-line center that isn't just that, but also is a fit for the Canes. And then to pair all of that together, don't stop getting better. Don't settle, right? You hear, what's Eric Tolsky's favorite line, GM for the Canes? until we have the 20 best players in the league on our roster, we're going to continue exploring ways to get better. I've heard it once. I've heard it a dozen times from Eric Tulsky. Well, the Panthers won the Cup last year. They didn't just go run it back. That team was good enough to win the Cup last year. It'll be good enough to win the Cup this year. They were working all the way up till the deadline to get better.
Yeah, they traded for Seth Jones. They traded for Brad Marchand.
Brad Marchand felt like it was this is me now. It could have changed in my memory, right? The fish gets bigger as you tell the fishing story. It felt like it was like 10 minutes before the deadline.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
It was a lot of like, okay, all right. We were evaluating the Canes trade. They sent Miko away. All right. And then all of a sudden I was like, by the way, Marchand for a mid-round pick to the Panthers. What? How? That happened? And also the Canes got Jankowski. Remember? It was right about that same time.
Yeah, it was like 5 o'clock. Like, wait, deadline was 2 hours ago. Why are we just now hearing this?
That is something good, right? It's not only is it like, hey, keep trying to get better, but it's strengthen your strengths, right? The Panthers were already, to use a term, right? They're already a bunch of rats. And then they went and got Marchand. They strengthened to strength.
Yep.
So for the Canes, right? Can you improve on the blue line?
Mm-hmm.
Can you improve on the penalty kill? Can you things that you already do great? Can you get better there even, right? Explore everything. Can you find a even better two-way forward to put into your lineup when you already have, 3 of the top 12 in Selke voting? Like, can you find more? Because I think both of these two teams do that, right? The Oilers never go, well, we have McDavid and Draisaitl, so, we don't need to go find more goal scorers. They're looking, right? They're hunting. And the Florida Panthers never go, well, we have Tkachuk and Bennett and this guy, so we don't need any more grit. No, they're always hunting. And I hate to give so many compliments to other teams, but correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, you watch the Stanley Cup final and tell me these two teams aren't the best in the league.
Yeah.
Like,
how can you not be complimentary? They're playing. We're not.
And not only that, it doesn't appear, and this is me being real, it doesn't appear as if it's unearned, right? Sometimes there are a lot of years where I think the two best teams are not in the final, right? There's a goalie that got super hot in the second round and eliminates a team that had a great season and looks better top to bottom. Watching these two teams, it appears as if the bracket got it right? It appears as if the 7-game series got it right. And because of that, yeah, don't tell them, but study them a bit. Right? You don't got to say like, hey, by the way, sincerest form of flattery, we're looking at what you guys did. No, but do it, right? Watch the film, watch the game, see how your team can get better, see what they can learn. Just poke around a little. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, not an impression, by the way, or not a character. Don't go doing the ridiculous, right? You're not a SNL character here, but see if there's a few things you can't pick up, a few nuggets, pearls of wisdom, if you will. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Manor Service Company, and I have a pearl of wisdom for you. It is a great time to start thinking about cooling maintenance. Anybody like me that did some yard work over the weekend, Saturday, did a bunch of yard work, was out there, there's no better feeling than walking into that air conditioner after being outside, sweating a ton. Even if you're just going inside for a little 10-minute break, I'm going to chug some water, I'm going to sit down at the kitchen table, try not to get any of this grass that's all over me anywhere in the house. You just want to be in that air conditioner. So it is a great time to check up about cooling maintenance, right? Check your system out. Have somebody from Manor Service Company come out to your house, give it the old once-over, look it out, look at it, take off the covers or whatever, and have an expert, not just me, right? It's like popping the hood when you're not a car guy. You just look at it and go, looks good, all right? Because there's nothing actively on fire or smoking. Like I can do that with my HVAC unit or my AC that's outside when it's cranking away. The experts can actually make sure that everything is taken care of, everything's looking the way it should, so you don't miss out on that feeling. I would have cried on Saturday coming in after hours out in the yard if I came in and it wasn't cool because I'd know that meant my AC was broken, and that's not how you want to live. So give them a call for some cooling maintenance and any issue you have regarding heating, cooling, plumbing, or electric. It's Manor Service Company, and the number is 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. or visit them online at MaynorServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. Coming up next here on The Drive, the latest on Jordon Hudson. And you know what? I'm gonna let you know the question that I'm gonna do my best to answer. Jordon Hudson is the 24-year-old girlfriend of Bill Belichick, and yet another very well-respected, very well accomplished journalist has written a long article on their relationship. Here's my question. Why do we care? I'll try to answer that coming up next.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
They score! Corey Perry got to it! Game 2 is tied!
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 3. Puck drop at 8.
Marchand takes the pass from Lundell. Partial break. Now he scored! And he pokes it through the Edmonton netminder for an overtime game winner.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against your world sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Álvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit somoslocales.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Shovel pass to Hampton, wide open, 30, 20, 10, touchdown Tar Heels!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. One of the least explainable, I don't know if that's proper grammar, one of the hardest to explain phenomena in sports right now is the world's obsession with Bill Belichick and his dating life. And I'll admit, like, I'm not surprised that the tabloids of the world are interested, but I'm becoming more fascinated by the legit journalism interest. Right? Like our show, I don't want to pretend like we're going for Peabodys, right? We're not trying to win Pulitzers over here. So if occasionally we dance into the goofy, all right, that happens, right? We got 3 hours a day to fill. But Pablo Torre and Brendan Marks of The Athletic, I consider them more serious journalists, right? They do investigative journalism. Pablo Torre, I believe, has won or been nominated for a Peabody, which is like, you know, the real journalism stuff. Brendan Marks for The Athletic, he covers Triangle College basketball, college football. I really enjoy his reading, and part of it is because it does remind me of kind of, and I should probably tell Brendan this. A lot of it reminds me of like when you used to get excited when you were like, you know, 6th grade and the Sports Illustrated would show up and those titans of sports journalism. You'd read the whole thing cover to cover like it's real sports journalism. Pablo Torre, and I promise you, because I watched the whole thing, put out a 45-minute video all about the Airbnb that Jordon Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, and Bill Belichick stayed in a couple off seasons ago. He went and talked to the Airbnb owner. He actually rented the Airbnb so he could film in the condo. And then Brendan Marks put out an article this morning. Go check it out, The Athletic, where he basically drove the timeline of life of Jordon Hudson. Went up to Maine, drove down to Cape Cod, drove all over the New England area, trying to find people that knew, met, worked with Jordon Hudson. In both pieces, they have either audio or quotes from acquaintances of Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Pablo Torre played audio from the Airbnb host talking about what it was like to rent an Airbnb to Jordon Hudson. Brendan Marks had a quote from a former boss of Jordon Hudson's at a salon that she worked at. And you know, and then Pablo Torre went on with Bill Simmons, and they debated whether it was necessary journalism. It kept popping into my head. Why do we care? And why do serious journalists take the time and effort to put together these pieces outside of, like, you know, and Dennis, you brought it up earlier, like it's on the homepage of The Athletic. Like outside of The Athletic has to make money, and Pablo Torre's trying to get clicks to his YouTube and stuff. Outside of that, why are they putting in the effort? And it's really hard to explain. But I've settled on what I think it is. The thing that's hard to explain is there's one of the differences between NFL and college, between professional sports and college sports, is there is more connection in college. There is more of a romanticized goal of college. There is more of a community for college. The stereotype of you're not just coaching, you're molding young people is more in college. I'll say it this way, the we, right? Alumni, students, you feel a part of, you feel like you know the college coach. They're in your lives. They're showing up. Roy Williams is at the UNC baseball games, right? He's retired. He's no longer the coach at UNC, but he's still in their lives. He's still wearing the iconic patterns and Argyle and jackets, and it's a we, not a they, right? Professional feels transactional. My favorite team that I am a fan of has hired this person. They are here to do a job, and they will either do it or they won't. College is, we have welcomed this person into our family. In the Athletic article written by Brendan Marks, there's an email from what is only identified as a longtime Tar Heel supporter. I'll read you a part of it. The unnamed person wrote, I am a longtime UNC fan and cannot believe you are stuck with a coach who is clearly being run by a woman who is young enough to be his granddaughter, dominating football practice and interviews. It's ridiculous, won't end well, and makes UNC look foolish. End of anonymous person email from The Athletic story. I understand that's ridiculous. I'm not defending that at all. Part of me says, you really thought that was going to change something? Like you sent that to UNC generically as if they're going to go, oh, all right. I didn't realize longtime fans were confused. Let's go ahead and change this multi-million dollar decision we made. But also, I do, having been around it, I'm not surprised. Right? The part of the reason college sports are so special is it makes everybody feel like they are a part of something bigger than themselves. It gives them a community to be proud of. It gives them a community that they can brag about to their friends. And I can tell you right now, when a UNC football community member tries to say something about their UNC football program, the other fans of other teams fire back with a joke about Bill Belichick's dating life. Thus, these details become part of the interwoven story. And you can like it, you can not like it, you can say it's their prerogative, and obviously legally it is. I think I did the math right the other day. I am a mid-30s. Been in this business now for a dozen years. I have 2 kids. I've been married for the better part of a decade. If I were to date someone the same age gap that Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson are, I'm pretty sure she'd be born 15 years from now. That's a heck of a way to talk about it, right? 14, 15 years, depending on, what month they're born in. That is a heck of a way to think about it. Why do I care? I don't, right? They can do whatever they want to do. But the people within that family that look at their college team as my alum, that's where I went, we do this every Saturday, we fund it, they're little concerned that there's going to be a tarnish or some kind of smudge on the mark of their, not just their fandom, their family. That's part of the difference. Because I do think in college, right? In the pros, people are much more okay employing, quite frankly, bad people, right? There are people that are not great, but they're fast, and you're like, you know what? Let's draft them. Because in professional sports, it feels more like a transaction. Right? I'm not welcoming them into my family. I'm paying them for a service. In college, it's like, no, you're becoming part of us. You're gonna be eating at the same Main Street place that I met my wife at. Right? You're gonna be going to English class in the same lecture hall that I went to English class. Like, you become closer, and because of that, Bill Belichick's in the crosshairs. And he has some really good, really thorough journalists tracking every movement. I can promise you that. Read these articles, watch the Pablo Torre podcast, and you'll be like, there is not going to be a stone unturned when these guys are done with it. Talking to, like, friends of friends that talked to him once. What was she like? Like, it's that kind of deal. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Brendan Marks even got to at least explain his pitch to one of her parents. Hey, this is what I'm writing the article on, before he got, I have no comment. Click. Hey. Farther than most journalists made it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's Jordon Hudson's latest. We have the starting 5 coming up next. Do not go anywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
At the beginning of the season, if I had told Hurricanes fans that your year would end in the conference finals, you would have jumped through fire to make that happen. That's what we thought at the beginning of the year, that they're not going to be as good. As it turned out, even through all of the things that happened over the course of this season, through Martin Necas's touching of the sun and then being traded, it still ended up in a good spot.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary, 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan with Dr. Brenna Houlihan from Wake Med. She's here to educate us a little bit more on Men's Health Month. Now, we've been talking about colonoscopies and whether someone is considering or not to have colorectal cancer screenings because they're experiencing some irregular symptoms. What are those symptoms that people might see that you would recommend they seek care for?
So some of the symptoms you see is really just change in your bowel habits. You know, you go from being sort of regular one way, it gets skinnier, it changes in consistency. That's something to keep in mind, and as well as bleeding. However, most colon cancers are asymptomatic or without any symptoms for a very long time. So even if you're not having those symptoms, make sure you stay within those screening windows and make sure you're getting those screening colonoscopies, even if you don't have a single symptom.
Wow, really important to pay super close attention to certain things. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Houlihan. And if you have any questions or want to find a provider local to you, you can visit wakemed.org.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I'm Attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We expect mostly cloudy skies this evening and overnight. Shower and thunderstorm chances increase overnight, and some of the storms could be strong to severe, damaging wind gusts and localized flooding. The threat, 72 the low. More storms tomorrow.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today at the closing bell down 1 point to 42,761.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Monday. Doesn't feel like a Monday. And I say that positively. Feels like we're already in the groove. Sometimes Mondays are a drag. Not today. We've already made it to the starting 5, and as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inbound SGA turns right to the basket. Reverse layups at home. And Oklahoma City, all cylinders working tonight here in Game 2. Timeout, Indiana.
NBA Finals, 1 game apiece. Thunder win Game 2 to tie it up after the buzzer, or not quite buzzer beater, for Tyrese Haliburton in Game 1. 0.3 seconds left. Yeah. Mark Daigneault, the head coach of OKC, talked to the media, obviously, after the Game 2 win, and he was asked why OKC didn't sit back on their lead.
I just think you have to understand against them because of the pace and because of the three-point shooting. There's a variance element to every NBA game in this NBA, but certainly in the games that they play. And I just thought we were the aggressor tonight for much of the game, even when we had a lead. I thought the guys did a really good job of keeping the foot on the gas, especially defensively. I thought we really amped it up on that end of the floor. There's a couple times where we got off track on both ends, but we were able to course correct pretty quickly. So I thought the guys did a really good job of just recognizing when we weren't where we needed to be and getting there quicker.
There is, probably should have already been, a recognition about what the Pacers are. And what I mean by that is the Pacers are a team that gets up and down, and they're coached by Rick Carlisle. If you go back into the history of teams that have made ridiculous comebacks in the conference finals and NBA finals, Rick Carlisle's coached darn near all of them. And I'm not joking about that. The last time a finals game, 15 or more comeback in an NBA finals fourth quarter, Rick Carlisle was coaching them. It was the Mavs. You go back to the previous time before the Pacers did in the Eastern Conference Finals, it was, again, Rick Carlisle with the Mavs. Like, wherever he goes, teams have the ability to close down deficits quickly. So if you're the Thunder, it's kind of, I'll two separate times we related the NBA Finals back to the Canes. You know how when the Canes get like a 3-1 lead, it feels like a 10-goal lead because they can just lock you down, and their penalty kill is so good, and their forwards start really getting involved back with the blue line. The opposite. There we go. My chair just deflated all the way down. How about that? Do I look much smaller on YouTube?
Yeah, you do, actually. Okay, you can fix that.
I think my shoe got caught. I'll just stay down here for a little bit.
Okay.
The opposite is true for the Mavs. What I mean by that is a 15-point lead against the I said Mavs. I meant Pacers, but obviously Rick Carlisle coached the Mavs. A 15-point lead on a Rick Carlisle coached team, it's like a 8-point lead for other teams. Like almost, it's not quite twice, but it's almost there. Here we go. I'm going to raise it up. Ready? Okay. If you're watching on YouTube, you understood all that. If you're listening on the radio, apologize. I still think the Thunder win the series. I said Thunder in 5 from the beginning. Even after they lost Game 1, I said Thunder are going to win the next 4. I still think they do it, but the only way it works is if they run through the line. Not to the line, through the line for all my track athletes out there.
A true gentleman's sweep.
Yes, like a.
You take the first one, we take the next 4.
Yep, you woke us up. Gosh darn it, you're going to make us work. And then you light them up from that point forward. That was number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together. Let's do that hockey.
Game 3, Stanley Cup Final tonight. Right here on 99.9 The Fan, by the way. So tune in to listen for it. If it's anything like Game 1 and Game 2, you're going to wish you did if you don't. How about this one, Dennis? Do you, at this point, you see any way in heck this thing ain't going 7?
I said it from the get-go that Edmonton would win in 6, that they would split the first 2 in Edmonton, split in Sunrise for 3 and 4. Edmonton wins at home Game 5, and then win on the road Game 6. That was my prediction at the beginning of the series. So far, I'm on track. But if I go 7, I'm not going to go.
I was going to say, I will give you the opportunity to, I do what you do also. Hey, I'm still alive. I'm not going to change. If we gave you a one-time, no strings attached, you can change it because this, you can't get closer than overtime followed up by a second overtime.
Yeah.
Like you did. I mean, I guess you could go 2 overtimes and 3 overtimes, but you really, like in regulation, these two teams are square.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the next step is a third overtime game tonight because we went 1 OT, 2 OTs, now 3 OTs. Maybe that's the next step in all things. But no, I'm going to stick with it because of this reason. The Florida Panthers at home in the playoffs are only roughly around a 500 team at home these playoffs. They've been great on the road, hence why I said they're going to split. But I think Edmonton is just the team to beat. I think their top end guys are like Draisaitl and McDavid are just playing so well right now. And I think getting that first win for Edmonton was the big confidence boost because last year they had to come down from that 0-3 deficit. So I think that win in game 1 was so pivotal for them. And I think that's the reason why, for me, going in, I said Edmonton in 6.
Okay, now here's my next question. I don't know if it's a consensus. The thought going into game 2 was for Florida, even up the series, it's going to have to be low scoring. And then it was, 5 goals in the first period?
Yeah.
Edmonton had 3 of them, so it was 3-2 at the end of the first. Florida still won. Is it still... Like, is Florida still hoping to win this one 3-1? Or are they like, you know what? If you want to run, let's run. Like, you don't know what kind of engine we have under here. Let's see if we can keep up with Edmonton, who, by the way, I know McDavid doesn't have a goal yet, but he's got, 5 assists through 2 games.
Yeah.
And they're not the kind of assists that it's like, oh, I got it, somebody, they did all the work. Like, he is putting it on a platter for him. I don't know. I'm surprised in the way the games have gone, not just in the outcomes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I wasn't expecting this high scoring. I was expecting maybe more of like 3-2, 4-3 type games, not the 5-4s and stuff that we've been getting. I'm with you on that one. It would not surprise me if one of these 2 games that we have in Florida is a 2-1 game. Like just a Florida gets the second change. That last matchup can control stuff a little bit better. I would not be surprised if we had a 2-1 or 3-1 game tonight.
In order for that to happen, is it a Bob game?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be one, right? We've seen it up close and personal too many times with Carolina to not recognize that, like, one of these games, Bob is going to see the ice. You know what I mean? The whole thing.
Yeah.
His periff's going to be working and everything. Because they're beating him glove side, which Canes fans were screaming that the Canes needed to do more of. High in glove side. But there has to be a Bob game in there somewhere.
I think there is. I think as well, I think this is an Alexander Barkov game for Florida because he's the best defensive forward in the entire NHL. He's won back-to-back Selke trophies. And anytime that Connor McDavid steps on the ice, Barkov's going to be stepping on the ice right after that. And that's the true shutdown center in the NHL, who also can score, by the way, which is interestingly enough, he has 0 points so far in this series, but don't be surprised when he starts getting going offensively as well. I think that's the big thing is Alexander Barkov is going to have that shutdown style of game.
Do you know what is this will be my last point here. The wildest stat of game 2, the Florida Panthers won the game, obviously, right? Well documented. Barkov was a -3.
Yeah.
The fact that they won a game, obviously Barkov's on the ice with some really good guys for the Oilers, but -3 for one of, if not your best player, and you win the game. That shows the depth of Florida, doesn't it?
Just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. That is number 4. Let's hit number 3. The Savannah Bananas took over Charlotte over the weekend.
They did.
And when I tell you took over Charlotte, they took over Charlotte. They filled Bank of America. That is the Panthers Stadium.
74,000 seats.
Twice.
Yeah.
Back-to-back nights.
Sold out.
It's baseball, kind of. Like, I don't even know. Banana ball, I guess, is that what they call it? I was going to say
baseball adjacent.
Funny baseball, but it's they call it banana ball. If you haven't seen it, what the Savannah Bananas are doing is wildly impressive. And actually, I talked a little bit about this last week. One thing that I think sports teams could get more involved in, because do you know what was a big part of the appeal, right, playing in Bank of America? They had former Panthers. They had Jonathan Stewart out there with a football running home. I didn't watch the whole thing, but he like had a football and was running from third to home. They had Luke Kuechly throwing pitches. They had Greg Olson in full uniform. Like they do it like they make it custom to where they are. What they do marketing-wise is crazy. If you're into that world, there's books to read, studies on them, documentaries. But I do think there is more room, and I don't want to be mean when I say this. There's more room for odd versions of sports. The TST is a fantastic example of this. The soccer tournament that's played right here at Wake Med, that's soccer kind of. Like, it's more soccer than banana ball, but also if you go to like extra time, they start taking people all. You can get down to like 3-on-3, and you like they
1v1.
They it's a weird version of it, but what it is it's like it's bite size. Like there was actually, Dennis, you can correct. You were kind of in the same generation. There was like a hot 3 or 4 year period where all of my friends were like randomly picking and getting really into Premier League soccer. Like
there's a stretch there.
It was just like I'm a diehard Chelsea fan, or I'm like, oh, let's go Hotspurs, and they just like became part of it. They got whatever streaming service they needed to go watch all of it, and it was a lot. Let's be real. Like they were trying to convince us, like, oh, you need to come be a Man U fan with me, and it's like, that sounds like such an investment. The soccer tournament is like a bite-sized version of that, right? If you're trying to get a kid excited in baseball, it's aggressive to say, like, let's go to a professional Major League Baseball game. It's going to be hot. It's going to be 3.5 hours, and it's going to be, you got to focus and you got to sit. Or you can take them to the banana ball. You can take them to the Savannah Bananas, give them 2 hours, in and out, lots of craziness. And by the way, wildly successful business-wise, monetarily.
Yeah.
There's more room for more creative sideshows, maybe sideshow sports.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an owner, I'm getting involved. You see it. Professional pickleball teams. You see it. Golf with the weird Monday night thing that Tiger and them are doing. Like, owners need to get involved because it builds the brand of your sport. Imagine if all of the MLS owners got together and they did a TST, but instead of $1 million to the winner, $10 million to the winner. Just to make more soccer fans, right? Banana ball is making more baseball fans, I promise you. It's a small investment in the big scheme of things to improve the Q score of your sport. Football. Flag football is going to be in the Olympics. Why doesn't the NFL put together a flag football league where for every NFL team, there's a flag football team from that same city? Right? When you play on Sundays, they play on Saturdays, somewhere else in the city. Just to make more fans of your sport.
I think it also goes to show owners of teams, especially, you see this a lot in minor league sports especially, but what am I getting outside of the actual game itself? That's the whole thing with the Savannah Bananas, is that you're getting everything else. Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's also a semblance of a game that's being played here too. I've
had nerdy conversation with this. My dad works in sales and marketing, and he's, passionate about studying it. You've been to Disney World recently?
I have not.
Okay. One of the most unbelievable things that Disney does is they think about the entire experience. What I mean by that is when you're waiting in lines, their lines are long, if not longer, a lot of times than Six Flags or Universal or whatever. But at Disney, the lines are almost a ride, right? There's little Easter eggs, or hey, everybody move into this room, and they play a video for you, and it's part of the story. All right, now get back to waiting in the dungeon. And then you go back into, it's just a line. You're just waiting in line. But it doesn't feel like you're waiting in line because they've thought about the experience. The Bananas do the same thing. When you're in the parking lot, there's stuff going on. When you're filing in, there's a performance. Between innings, there's something going on. They're thinking about the entirety, not just the main deal. It's not just a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster, and you have fun in line, and you have fun walking to the roller coaster, and you have fun. It's a different deal. Chase on Twitter, Dennis, you'd have to answer this one. says it's no different than what Vince McMahon did with WWE and wrestling, just their take.
Oh, 100%.
All right, there you go,
100%.
Chase.
That the whole thing is the entertainment in WWE. It's all about the entertainment product, not
Chase,
just the wrestling itself.
Chase, you have the dentist stamp of approval. Let's go to the number 2.
Just the two of us.
Was that the sound of the ACC in the College Baseball World Series Super Regionals? Actually, we don't know yet.
Yeah,
we don't. Hey, Duke can still reach it. They have to beat Murray State today. What time is opening pitch? It's 7 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah, 7 o'clock game.
Gosh, does the ACC need Duke baseball? To me, if I'm Duke, I'm definitely, sitting in a room with a high-backed chair facing the wall, and then when the metaphorical ACC walks in, I'm spinning around slowly. Oh, look who you need now. Duke is one of 2 remaining options for the ACC to make waves in the Men's College World Series. There was a possibility of 4 teams making the College Baseball World Series in Omaha from the ACC. And UNC started hot against Arizona, 18-2 in Game 1. And actually traded the lead a few times in Game 2, which if they would have won, it would have been over. They would have gone to Omaha. End up losing that one to Arizona. Then Game 3, it's a back-and-forth game, but much less high scoring. Ends up being 4-3. Arizona wins, punches their ticket, and a very, very good UNC baseball season comes to a close. It is a bummer. I just call it what it is. I root kind of blindly for the ACC in most scenarios. This weekend wasn't a good one for the ACC. What I will say is somehow baseball has found parity. The SEC had, 13, 14 teams make the tournament out of 64? They have 2 making the Final 8. Coastal Carolina has made the Final 8. Murray State, if they beat Duke, would make the Final 8. There's Oregon State has made the Final 8. There's a little bit of every conference almost. If Murray State wins, which obviously we hope they don't, but if they do, 7 conferences would be represented in 8 teams. People say that's what they want. I don't know if it's true, right? It's kind of like the basketball tournament, the March Madness. Everybody says they want Cinderellas. Then when the Final Four isn't a bunch of blue bloods and really exciting games, they're like, hey, wait a second.
Just see a few years ago when it was Miami and San Diego State.
Nobody wanted that. Florida International doesn't bring the eyeballs like Duke and UNC and Kansas and Kentucky. But hey, parity has been found in the College Baseball World Series. Let's go Blue Devils. And who else is in? Oh, Louisville.
Louisville.
Let's go Cardinals.
Go Cardinals.
That's number 2. Let's get to number 1. College athletes, the official, the judge finally ruled. Gave the final banging of the gavel. I don't know if they do that still. College athletes can be paid by the universities. It is going to be a revenue share situation where the money that can go from schools to players is capped. I believe the first revenue share cap will be a little over $20 million, $20.5 million, roughly, of which roughly 75% can go towards one sport, whatever sport you so choose. There are some fascinating side stories that are about to happen. This is draft day. This is what it is, right? My favorite saying about draft day, it feels like a finish line for these players, but it's actually a starting line. That's what this is. It feels like a finish line for being able to pay players. We finally know how it's going to be structured. We finally know that they can do it. All right, we're here. In actuality, it's how much can they pay? In actuality, it's how are you actually going to regulate the NIL deals that you say are still allowed but need to be approved by a third-party evaluator for market value? In actuality, it's are there ways to circumnavigate the cap? I know this because when I was playing at the University of Delaware football, one of our rivals was Villanova football. They had cranked out a couple NFL players. Like, they were a good little program. Guess what they did last week? Villanova. They dropped down, right? So Delaware, of course, we're popping up. We're jumping into the FBS. They dropped down. They went from the CAA to the Patriot League in football, which seems like, oh, wow, they're really why would they do that? Everybody else is stepping. Why would they want to go? Do you know why? And this is me guessing, but it's a pretty good guess. They want to spend as little money as possible on football. Do you know why? Because that opens up more and more and more of their revenue share to spend on basketball. So think about it like this. We'll use Florida, right? Because Florida just won the national championship game. Basketball, we're talking. Do you think Florida football isn't going to demand their full allotment of revenue share? All right. So they get their, what would you say, Dennis? It's going to be like $14, $15 million for one sport?
If they go up to the max allowed for one sport off that $20.5 million, it's about 15.3.
Okay, 15.3 in football, in Florida's revenue share goes to football. That leaves basketball some portion of the remaining $5 million, right? Which also has to go to other sports. Baseball also has to go to other sports, women's sports, so some portion of that. Meanwhile, Villanova gives nothing to their football team and gives $15.3 million to their basketball team. Villanova starts their funding with a roughly $14 million head start on Florida basketball. Do you think Florida's going to be cool with that? I don't think so. And by the way, Villanova basketball can fundraise pretty darn well also, especially if they're winning national championships, which they have been in the last 10 years. There's so many loopholes in the way this is set up that it feels like a finish line, but it's really the beginning. I've predicted this. I think there's going to be teams that tank every other year. People hate tanking in professional sports. Hate it. Right? The whole reason the lottery in the NBA exists and gives the number one overall pick Cooper Flagg to a team that was one game outside of making the playoffs in the Dallas Mavericks is to de-incentivize tanking. People hate tanking. College teams will tank every other year because your revenue share cap is for a calendar year. So guess what? I can wait till this year's season ends, put my entire this year's cap on next year's roster, and then once the calendar changes, put all of next year's on next year's season as well, and you can double up your cap for 1 year. So you can have revenue share of twice as much if you go all in. I don't think anyone will go all in, but you can have, like, say, 70% of last year's money and 100% of this year's money on next year. It's creating loopholes that somebody intelligent and competitive is going to try to expose. And you're going to have this commission that they've put together just deep in paperwork and lawsuits. I covered when I was covering Virginia Tech earlier in my career, I was working for a Blacksburg station. I was covering Virginia Tech. They had a center, okay, that transferred from Coastal Carolina.
Football or basketball?
Football. Okay. True. Well played. Center. He was a guard and a center. Which sport? You're not helping me much. His name was Brock Hoffman. And he transferred because his mom had it was a brain tumor. It was a really serious situation. And Virginia Tech was closer to home for him than Coastal Carolina. And he had to apply for a waiver to be able to play immediately. Now, the waiver was eventually turned down. Why? Because Virginia Tech was 5 miles outside of the radius to his home that would make it a move home for medical purposes. 5 miles outside that radius ended up being a no-go. That's not the part I'm here to rant and rave about. The part I'm here to rant and rave about is how gosh darn long this appeal took to be heard. He applied in the spring, and we're coming up on games, and he still didn't know if he was going to be eligible. And that's a pretty straightforward, like, if you're going to obey the rule, right, and you're just saying it's the radius, all you need is a MapQuest. You just put the little compass out there. No. And it took them 6 months. Now, imagine if not just one rule is being appealed, by one guy or, say, 30 of them across the country, I think every team is going to have 50 appeals in at any point in time because all of these rules are being tested and there's no precedent. And that committee is going to be up to their eyeballs in lawsuits, appeals, and waivers and paperwork. And I think it's going to get ugly. And we will be here to cover the whole deal. Of course, advocating for the teams that we care about to have their appeals heard first. But if I had to guess, the SEC will be heard first. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, and I won't like it. Before we grab our numbers game contestants, and we have a pretty sweet prize again. Before we grab those contestants, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, you maxed out on your credit cards, maybe struggling with that high-interest debt. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without even touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. It's a massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Auto-proof credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan needs numbers game contestants. The prize for today, a free 30-minute golf simulator pass at Rush Hour Karting. We gave away the free race last week, Rush Hour Karting. That makes sense. It's right there in the name. But you need to know they also have golf simulators, and we have 30 minutes free. You don't have to walk to your ball each time. You can play a whole round in 30 minutes at a really cool course because they have a whole bunch available. So give us a call. You can call them if you want to. Look them up, Rush Hour Karting. But if you want to play the numbers game and potentially win the 30-minute golf simulator pass for yourself, call us. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
It's been a while, but the Carolina Hurricanes won't have to figure out in free agency how to spend the money, but what to spend the money for. Unlike us common folk who probably have to use coupons, General Manager Eric Tulsky will have a different challenge. He's probably going to have to pay over sticker price to build a Stanley Cup winner.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
This is what WRAL weather coverage sounds like.
Thunderstorm warning right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
When your safety is a priority.
An indication that there is a tornado on the ground, so get in your safe spot
in this area. Get in your safe spot right now.
With the tools that make a difference.
WRAL Storm Tracker is inside the storm.
WRAL has the only dual Doppler radar in Wake County.
Hear it and see it every day.
It looks like the storm is doing exactly what we predicted to do.
That's WRAL News. Weather coverage you can count on.
A pepperoni pizza for the table.
may I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, half-hour golf simulator, free pass at Rush Hour Karting. The contestants for today, Frank in Clayton and Jason in Wake Forest. I'll ask them both the same question. Dennis will choose his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. Frank, are you there?
I am here.
All right. We ask this question most Mondays, so we'll ride with it. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we are a sports show, keep it sports related, something that involves sports.
Okay, well, I'm not a huge tennis fan, but I couldn't take my I was glued to the TV in that tennis match there in the French Open.
All right.
Last night. It was incredible. Some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
I've heard similar reviews. Dennis, any follow-up questions?
So you're talking about the Alcaraz Center?
Yes.
Okay,
Alcaraz
gotcha.
Center, yep, Alcaraz Center.
There you go. Jason in Wake Forest, you are up. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, the question is the same. What was the highlight of your past weekend, with this being a Monday? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Well, I'm going to keep it local. I was watching the TST tournament here in Triangle, so a big soccer fan.
All right. Any specific game or player or something you were watching?
Well, I'm looking forward to tonight. Actually, I'm going for both sides of the bumpy pitch. The men's and women's both are in the finals, so I'm gonna roll with them.
All right, Dennis. Those are the 2 options. Which one are you rolling with?
Oh, this is a tough one, actually. This is low-key actually difficult because you have the local tying in with TST. Obviously, there's a lot of actually local athletes that are competing in that, including even tonight, the U.S. women's national team. There's a couple of UNC women's soccer players playing on that team. So you have that, but also you have what a lot of people are describing as an all-timer. And I will give Frank – I'm going to lean Frank on this one because Frank gave credit. He's like, you know what? I'm not a big tennis fan, but I was hooked on that, and I sat back and I watched something great because he knew something was great was taking place. So I'm going to give Frank the edge on this one.
All right, Frank.
Both great answers, by the way.
Frank and Clayton gets to go, and Jason, you will also get to go. You just got to wait a couple minutes. Frank, you ready to pick a category?
Yes, I am.
All right, the categories are NFL switched positions. These are players that played a different position in college than they did in the NFL. NFL players who've all torn an ACL, so at some point in time they blew their knee out. This I feel like I'm jinxing something there, but they already tore it, so there's no jinxing to take place. NBA players that have hit a buzzer beater game winner sometime since 2020, or NHL Hurricanes only?
Hurricanes only.
All right, said that with confidence. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though you know it. It's Hurricanes only. But that's just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Any questions before we get started?
I'm all set.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Jackson Blake, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Correct. Sean Walker, Carolina Hurricanes.
26.
Correct. Curtis McElhenney, Carolina Hurricanes.
35.
Correct. Kevin Westgarth, Carolina Hurricanes.
14.
Incorrect. Jeff Brown, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Kevin Westgarth, Carolina Hurricanes.
42.
Incorrect. Jeff Brown, Carolina Hurricanes.
16.
Incorrect. Westgarth, we were looking for 8. I do think it's harder when a former player wears a number that a current player wears for you to imagine it for whatever reason, and obviously with Burns. But we were looking for 8 there. We were looking for 21 with Jeff Brown, but you did get 3, so congratulations on that. That is a solid number. We'll see if it holds up, okay?
Gotcha.
All right, stay on the line. That means Jason in Wake Forest. Jason, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that switched positions from college to the pros, NFL players that tore their ACL at some point in their career, or NBA players who have hit buzzer-beating game winners since 2020.
Let's go buzzer beaters since 2020.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder.
0.
Incorrect. Bam Adebayo, Miami Heat.
16.
Incorrect. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder.
11.
Incorrect. Bam Adebayo, Miami Heat.
8.
Incorrect. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Pass.
RJ Barrett, New York Knicks.
Oh, man. Rough. 25.
Incorrect. Bam Adebayo, Miami Heat.
Wow.
I will say it didn't help you that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder has 900 syllables. But you finished with a 0, so if I were you, I'd blame it on that. Gilgeous-Alexander, we were looking for number 2. Bam Adebayo, 13, and RJ Barrett, number 9 with the Knicks. Obviously, that's not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yes, yeah, it did. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. That means Frank and Clayton, you are the winner.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, you get 30 minutes of free golf simulator at Rush Hour Karting, so enjoy that.
Sounds good. It's about 10 minutes up the road for me.
There you go. Hit them straight. It's one of those golf things, right? That's when someone's going golfing. Hit them straight. There you go. All right, stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. I love a good golf saying. Just one of those things that, oh, you're going to love that. Oh, good-looking swing. Sounded good. Just love the things that people say. Maybe a Caddyshack quote or two. Mix it in there, right? No. Either way, appreciate everybody for playing. That one was I will say, maybe not our best played numbers game, but it wasn't the easiest either. Both categories had some tough ones. So I will not behoove our listeners. Buzzer beating game winners, though, that's a category that's been up there for a long time. So we'll get some new blood in there down in the NBA corner. Maybe something that's more appealing to some of you. I mean, because you know how long that category's been there? We have NBA buzzer-beating game winners, and Haliburton wasn't one of them.
That's true.
If we were to put that in today, I guarantee you we would have worked Haliburton in there because he has a billion of them.
Yeah, but it's for this postseason.
But it's been sitting there, I think, maybe the entire postseason. So credit to the listener for taking one for the team and just taking a category that seemingly nobody else wanted. Before we move on and we get to our question of the day for the Panthers, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, if you're going to ride a motorcycle, whether you're a first timer or maybe something you've been doing for a while, make sure you're wearing the proper riding gear. I get very upset and I get very anxious anytime I see a motorcyclist out there on the road and they're not wearing the proper gear. They're wearing shorts. They're wearing T-shirts. Make sure you're wearing, I know it gets hot out there, especially in the summertime, but they make equipment and gear that you can wear that's actually cooling for you. I actually have a couple of jackets that I wear that have the full armor and everything, but guess what? Plenty of airflow comes through there. I'm able to stay cool on the bike even on hot days. Make sure you're wearing the proper gear. But we all know, even if you're in the proper gear, accidents can happen, and this is where Law Tigers comes in. Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what you're going through after an accident, and they also know what your gear and your bike are worth. So call them at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact the insurance company. Insurance companies, look, insurance companies are a hassle. They don't want to give you much of anything. They want to give you the least amount possible. This is where Law Tigers steps in. They look out for you, and they make sure that you get the most that you can with your case. That's why your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Next up, we have our question of the day for the Carolina Panthers, who are, there you go, just 45 days away from training camp. Stick around.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
They score! Corey Perry got to it! Game 2 is tied!
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 3. Puck drop at 8.
Marchand takes the pass from Lundell. Partial break. Now he scored! And he pokes it through the Edmonton netminder for an overtime game winner.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Gardner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
Is your heating and air system ready for the changing season? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. We're close to crowning a hockey champion, and when I'm not calling playoff games around the country, the first thing I do when I'm back in the Triangle is head to Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet, and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending and Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great"? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Are you in charge of running the building maintenance plays at your workplace? If you're facing roofing issues, you gotta get RoofWorks into the game. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. You can count on us to be your MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's Ruth, WERKS.com.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with turbo power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Snap, play fake. Young, deep drop, throws deep down the left side. Sanders open, walks it in for a touchdown. Bryce Young to Miles Sanders. Welcome back, Miles. And it's 16-10 Panthers.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 45 days to training camp. 45 days until the Carolina Panthers practice. We're doing one question a day, every show until that day. Today's question is, could the Panthers solve their secondary with Jair Alexander? Jair Alexander, and it was announced today, he'll be released from the Green Bay Packers after they both pursued a trade. They even discussed restructuring of the contract, and nothing worked out, so he gets the scot-free release. And I'm just going to be clear on this. If more corners keep getting released, they'll keep being our question of the day because the Panthers need secondary. They need, from where I sit, a free safety and a corner at minimum. Now, we had Dan Morgan on the show. He seemed convinced that their safeties are more versatile than maybe they appear to me, but at least depth at both of those spots necessary. And Jair Alexander is an interesting one. He brings quite a bit of personality. He brings quite a bit of production through the first part of his career in Green Bay, and he might not be all that expensive. Spotrac, which on Twitter and on their website are one of the go-tos for contract details and market values in the industry. Spotrac assumes that his market will start where Tre'Davious White's contract settled last year with the Rams. Tre'Davious White was on a 1-year, $4.25 million contract where incentives could have taken it up to $8 million. If you math that out for the cap being higher this year than last year, it's about a 1-year, $5 million deal that can go up to about 10. Jair Alexander, not quite 30, right? He's on the younger side of 30, 28, 29 years old. And I can't emphasize this enough. The Panthers should explore all options for the secondary. Somebody gets cut, you're gonna pop in the film, call his agent. Let's run through the drill here. Let's see what we have going on. I don't think that price is restrictive. I don't think that's too expensive. I think he's gotten paid a lot, and I think he probably wants a 1-year deal to prove that he should get paid a lot again. So part of what you'd be doing is giving him the prove-it deal that he's looking for. I do believe the Panthers in their rebuild are past rock bottom. Okay, there's like a bell shape. Once you decide you are going to rebuild, I think usually your first step is still down, right? Your first step is trimming fat, right? You gotta strip yourself down to the bare bones of it. and then you start building up. I think they're in the build-up. That's why this move makes sense. Last year, I would not even consider this because I'd be going like, no, if we're being real, you're hoping to have a high draft pick.
Yeah.
Jair Alexander's too good. What are you doing? Which is why I didn't like some of the moves they made last year. But now you have your quarterback, if you believe what everybody's saying about Bryce. You have your stud wide receiver, right, which sometimes you have to draft highly to go get in Tetero McMillan. You highly paid your cornerback, so you have your stud corner. You have your stud O-line. You have your stud D-line. Like, now's the time where you need to show progress to build, right? Now's the point where you have to be better than last year so more people want to come play with you next year. It's about building confidence. It's about learning how to win. I don't think rebuilds start there. I think a lot of people immediately go to like, it's of the culture. You have to try to win every game. And I'm like, yeah, you try to win every game. Doesn't mean you put together a roster that can. You strain for every yard and touchdown, but you might not score many of them once you decide you're going to rebuild. This is kind of the first year for me where I look at this Jair Alexander on a 1-year deal and I go, you know what? It might make sense because them playing well is the best thing for the team now. And making the little moves, the hidden moves that make your team better is finally the right move. There's a lot of years where once a team decides they're going to stink, where I'm going, put whoever, put Damani Richardson in, put Shaw Smith-Wade in, put whoever you have in the secondary that's young who might help you in the future, and you might get a diamond in the rough. If not, he doesn't play well, no harm, no foul. You weren't going to play well anyway. Jair Alexander now, he comes in, or whoever it is, right? Enter, non-32-plus-year-old veteran, something younger than that, who's ready to help you now. Maybe he makes a couple plays. Maybe at the midway point of the season, you're 6-3. Maybe you're 5-4. Maybe you're in the mix in a division. And whether you end up there or not, now you're playing meaningful games in the second half of your season. And that valuable experience is the goal now.
Couple major concerns. Well, actually, one major concern
for Jair.
Health.
Yes,
major. He's only played double-digit games once in the last 4 years,
and he's handled it weirdly in the media sometimes, where he reveals too much, and then the team didn't know this. There's been some weird stuff with that, but that's doctors got to solve that.
But as Austin points out on our YouTube live chat, which I forgot about this, he went to high school in the Charlotte area.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, then bring him home. He'll take a hometown discount, right?
Rocky River High School.
1 year, $5 million becomes 1 year, 4.2, right? That's a hometown discount. Prove it. We'll give you a couple extra tickets to home games. What do you need? Somebody to see the Savannah Bananas in Bank of America?
You don't have to worry about finding a place to stay.
There you go. But again, we did all of this with Stephon Gilmore a billion times. He's Jadeveon Clowney's high school teammate, played with him in college, went to South Carolina, and then never happened. So maybe that doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. I don't know if it's him. I do know they need help in the secondary. And every way you can do it from this point forward, explore it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close. Hopefully you had fun. That was a fun Monday show. We're going to keep the fun rolling with Dave Doeren. Conversation from earlier today, starting off Overdrive. Enjoy that. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins. Quote, if the Yankees were the last team to give me a contract, I'd retire.
I respect it.
I feel the same way. If this show didn't make it and the only job I could get in media was as the Rams team reporter, I would become a barista.
I love it, Smalls. I love it.
Before I would ever take a check from those people.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included. Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports